This is a massive moment. The official advice has caught up with many of us who have known the truth for a long time.
Welcome to the Strong Dad Show with your host, Adam Lloyd. Together, we are stronger.
Guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Strong Dad Show. Now, today we're going to tackle some huge news come out the last couple of weeks within the fitness and nutrition industry. And quite frankly, it's something that changes the game for every single one of us who wants to become a stronger, healthier, and more capable man and father. Now, the government, specifically in the US, after decades of pushing advice, has finally done a U-turn. They've released new dietary guidelines that are complete reversal of what we've been told for most of our lives. And this isn't just a minor tweak. This is a full-blown admission that the old way was wrong. The low-fat, high-carb dogma that has dominated for 40 years, it's out. The food pyramid we were all taught in school, they've literally turned it upside down. And for us as men who want to perform at our best, this is probably the best news that we've had in the world of nutrition for a very, very long time. So today we're going to break down what exactly has changed, why it's changed, and most importantly, guys, how you can use these new rules to build more muscle, to have more energy, and secure your long-term health. So let's get into it. So for as long as I can remember, the advice has been to base our diet on carbohydrates, refined carbs, bread, pasta, rice, cereals, and to be terrified of fat. If you're the same age as me, you'll probably remember our parents talking about how butter was bad for you and how they always give you margarine. That was reversed as well. But that's what we were told, yeah? Base our diet around carbohydrates, and that fat was the enemy, and that we were told to eat low-fat everything. The result? Food companies just stripped the fat out of food, pumped it full of sugar to give it a bit of nice taste, and as a nation, we just ended up getting fatter and we ended up getting sicker from it. It was a disaster. If you look at any low-fat alternative, it's just pumped full of sugar. Now, the new guidelines that were released in January 2026 are built on a simple, powerful, and frankly common sense philosophy. Eat real food. It's a message that cuts through all the noise and makes it all so simple. And the new symbol of this is the inverted food pyramid. You've all seen the food pyramid. You might not be able to picture it now, but if I brought it up as a picture in front of you, you definitely would have seen it throughout school. That food pyramid has been completely inverted. The widest part, the foundation of our diet, is now made up of meats, vegetables, and healthy fats. Think about that. The very things that we were told to limit are now being presented as the cornerstone of a healthy diet. Carbohydrates, especially refined ones, have been pushed down to the smaller sections. So let's dig into the specifics a little bit, because this is where it gets really good for us. The first and biggest recommendation is to prioritize protein at every single meal. And quite frankly, this is a massive win. As men, and especially as men who train, protein is king. We know this. It's the building block of muscle. You can't build a strong body without it. But it's more than that. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient, meaning it keeps you feeling fuller for longer and keeps you feeling satisfied. A high-protein diet is one of the most effective tools for managing your weight because you're simply less hungry. Now let's talk about fat. The war on fat is officially over. The new guidelines are actively encouraging us to incorporate healthy fats from whole foods. So we're talking about the fats that you find in meat, seafood, eggs, avocados, nuts, and organic dairy. But here's the kicker. They've also given the green light to all the fats like butters, olive oil, and even beef tallow for cooking, while advising against the highly processed seed oils that have been pushed on us for years. This is a huge step back towards the way our grandparents, or not even them, probably our great-grandparents ate. And it's a massive win for both our health and for making our food actually taste good again. And what about carbs then? Where does this leave carbs? The new advice is to focus on whole grains and to sharply reduce refined carbohydrates. This is about choosing quality over quantity. It's the difference between a sweet potato and a slice of white bread. It's about choosing carbs that prefer like a sustained energy and nutrients, and not the ones which are just going to spike our blood sugar and leave us feeling tired and hungry just an hour later. And finally, the new guidelines have declared war on added sugar. They are calling for a dramatic reduction in highly processed foods, added sugars, and artificial additives. And this is a long overdue recognition that sugar is a primary driver of the health crisis that we're facing. Worth considering at the moment, this is being pushed by the FDA in the US. Haven't seen much official adoption of it here in the UK yet, but we know it will be coming. But just take it as gospel from now on that the food pyramid has been inverted and to prioritize proteins and healthy fats. So you might be asking, why the sudden change of their approach? Why the sudden change of heart from the government, from a narrative that they were pushing for so long? Well, the truth is they've been forced to confront the cold, hard facts. The old advice simply just wasn't working. The statistics are staggering. In the US, over 70% of adults are now overweight or obese. So it's clear that their advice wasn't working. Nearly 1 in 3 adolescents has pre-diabetes. Adolescents. And diet-related chronic disease is so rampant in the US that is now a leading reason why young people are disqualified from military service. Think of that. 1 in 3 adolescents has pre-diabetes, and for people wanting to join the military, that chronic disease, diet-related chronic diseases, being overweight, etc., is the leading reason why people cannot join the military. As always, this isn't just about aesthetics. This is a national health emergency. Okay, so the old low-fat, high-sugar approach, it's created a generation of people who are overfed and undernourished. It has led to an explosion in chronic diseases that are bankrupting our healthcare systems, especially the NHS in the UK, and robbing people of the quality of life. When you look at the uptake in GLP-1 medication like Ozempic and Mounjaro, tens of thousands of people now taking that medication just because they're damn too lazy to eat a restricted healthy diet and exercise, but it isn't their fault. Society has created that. Society has fed them these highly refined and processed diets. Now it's falling on its head and it needs to get sorted, but this is the first step, and it is a really good step. Now, for us as dads, this is the wake-up call. We have a responsibility to be strong, to be healthy, and to be capable for our families. We want to be able to run around with our kids, to be a source of strength and security, and to be around for a long, long time. We're not just interested in our lifespan, we're interested in our health span. There's a big difference. We want to be vibrant. We want to be energetic and full of vitality, to live a fully engaged life, not just for us, but for the people who depend on us. And these new guidelines are an acknowledgement that the path to that kind of long-term health is through real, whole foods, not through processed, low-fat junk. So, this is all great in theory. How do we actually put it into practice as busy dads with jobs and kids and a million other things on our plate? This is where the rubber meets the road. It's actually simpler than you think. You don't need to become a gourmet chef or spend hours in the kitchen. It's about making a few smart choices consistently. So let's start with breakfast. This is where so many guys go wrong, starting their day with a bowl of sugary cereal or a slice of toast. That is just a recipe for a mid-morning energy crash. Instead, build your breakfast around protein. Okay, so we're talking about 3 or 4 eggs cooked in butter with a side of a meat of some sort, or a good quality sausage even. That's tasty. I wouldn't say bacon, because there's evidence of it coming out at the moment of being a class A or class 1 carcinogenic, so cancer-causing food source. But yeah, maybe go for some eggs and some beef mince, or eggs and a sausage. Or if you're short on time, just a bowl of full-fat Greek yogurt with a handful of berries and some nuts. That kind of breakfast will keep you full, focused, and energized right through to lunchtime. And then for lunch, the same principle applies. Protein is the priority. If you're out and about, look for a place that does a good roast chicken or a steak salad or something like that. If you're packing your own, it could be as simple as some leftover roast beef from the night before, or a big tub of cottage cheese. Having a simple approach is key to move away from the mindset that lunch has to be a sandwich and quick and a meal deal from Tesco. Now, dinner. This is where a lot of guys worry about the family, and rightly so. Okay, it's got to be convenient for the family. A lot of guys are in a position where they say, I can't cook a separate meal for myself. Or the lazy guys, I can't expect my wife to cook a separate meal for myself. The good news is you don't have to. A meal built around quality protein source and a load of vegetables is a healthy meal for everyone. Now, that's easier said than done. My kids are 6 and 4. I ain't getting them to eat lean protein and vegetables. They're very fussy eaters. But all we can do is try our best. And at least we can get the meals right for ourselves and our wives while we try and bring our children along the road of eating anything other than beige. Now, with dinner, think of like a classic roast chicken with roasted vegetables. Yeah? Or even something more homely, a spaghetti bolognese, but you serve yours with a smaller portion of pasta and a bigger portion of the meat and the sauce, or maybe over a bed of courgette spaghetti, I think they call it. And then you've just got a good quality steak with a big salad. It isn't complicated, it's just real food. And then what about the common roadblocks? I don't have time. That's a common roadblock. Cooking in bulk is going to be a secret weapon there. Cook a big batch of chili or a bolognese on a Sunday, and you've got loads of lunches sorted for a few days. Or you might say it's too expensive. What I'd say to that is prioritising protein doesn't have to mean eating fillet steak every night or sides of salmon. Mince, chicken thighs, eggs, tinned fish, they're all incredibly cost-effective sources of high-quality protein. And final word then, we've covered breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Most snacks, especially packaged snacks, are just processed junk designed to make you hungrier. If you are genuinely hungry between your meals, reach for something that's actually food. What I'd try first of all is to be smarter with your meals. If you get enough protein and big enough meals for your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and maybe a post-workout protein shake, you shouldn't be hungry between your meals. But if you're still hungry, reach for some actual real food. A handful of nuts, a piece of fruit, some beef jerky, or a hard-boiled egg. Just don't open that up in the office because it stinks. But these are snacks that will actually fuel you, not just give you a temporary sugar rush. So, to wrap it up, guys, this is a massive moment. The official advice has caught up with many of us who have known the truth for a long time. The path to a strong, lean, and healthy body is paved with real food. It's about prioritizing protein. It's about embracing healthy fats and being ruthless about cutting out the processed junk and sugar that has made our society sick. This isn't a diet. To follow this is just a set of simple principles for a stronger life. It's about taking control of your health in a way that is simple, in a way that's sustainable, but in a way that's incredibly effective. So my challenge to you this week is to pick just one thing that we've talked about today and implement it. Just one. Maybe it's just the one meal, changing one meal a day, changing your breakfast. Maybe it's ditching the seed oils and cooking with butter. Whatever it is, start small, be consistent, and you will start to see and feel the difference. So that's all for this episode of the Strong Dad Show. Thanks for tuning in. Strength and honor, brother. Now go and eat some real food.